Hey everyone, Razma here, back with another Set 5 item video. This time we'll be going over the Giant's Belt. Quick disclaimer before we begin, the units I have listed here are not a definitive list, they're just overall suggestions. There are plenty of 3, 2, 1 cost other units who can use these items as well. These are just basic suggestions. I plan to do more of a comp-based, unit-based, best-in-slot item guide in the next, week or two after the meta settles down and I get some more playtime under my belt. With that out of the way, let's get right into it. So, I'm going to start off with a double Giant's Belt item, which is the Warmog's Armor. Its ability and stats are just grants 1,000 total HP. So, you gain 1,000 more HP. It's actually a really good item in this set, because it scales well with the new Redemption, the regular version, and the Shadow version. It scales well with any unit that has an HP scaling built into their ult, so like a Mordekaiser. And it also scales well with just all Dawnbringers and Nightbringers because their trait scales off of max HP. So overall, I actually think Warmog's is a really good item in this set, and it's a good defensive / even offense, like half offensive ability. Offensive item. The Shadow version of the item is called the Warmog's Sacrificial Armor. It has 1,800 health, so it gets 800 more health than the regular Warmog's, but the negative ability on it is the wearer takes 100 true damage every second. So you gain 800 extra health, but you lose 100 health a second. If you combo this with a Redemption or the whole Dawnbringer, Nightbringer for the extra HP scaling, then I feel like it can actually be pretty powerful. The 100 HP loss per second really hurts in a longer fight though. I feel regular Warmog is just superior. I feel like they both have their ups and downs. I feel like I would use this item because of the Dawnbringer, Nightbringer synergy, something like that. So I don't really think it's bad. I don't think it's that great. I think, regular Warmogs is like an always. This one, I'd have to think about how I want to use it. Alright. Moving over to the Redemption, which is a Giant's Belt and a Tear of the Goddess. 15 mana, 150 HP, and the ability is every 5 seconds, the holder heals all allies within 1 hex for 25% of their missing health. Affected allies take 30% reduced damage from area of effect attacks for 5 seconds. This is now an actual really strong item, not like the old Redemption, which was it was okay if you made it late game, but now it's an overall just fantastic item. You throw this on a tank, you throw this on a melee heavy comp, and the 30% reduced damage from area effect attacks, the 25% of that missing health healing, it's actually really, really strong, and I really enjoy this item. I use it a lot. The Shadow version of the item, the Sacrificial Redemption, is the ability is every 5 seconds the holder heals all allies on board except themselves for 20% of their missing health. When the heal happens, the holder damages themselves for 10% of their current health as true damage. So it loses the AoE damage reduction buff. It heals all allies for a little bit less of a healing than a regular Redemption, but it's hitting all allies instead of just 1 hex. But it hurts the holder while it happens. The hurting the holder portion actually isn't that bad, because it's 10% of the holder's current health, not 10% of their max health. So if they have 1,000 health, the first tick would do 100 damage, but then the second tick would only do 90, then 80, 70... That's, if they don't take any other damage or don't get any other healing. So it's not that bad. It can never, kill your own unit because it's always 10% of their current health. If they have 10 health left, it will only hurt them for 1 health and still give the 20% healing to everybody else. So that's really, really strong. I like it. I feel myself using regular Redemption more, but I think the Sacrificial is still a good item. The next item we have on the list is the Zephyr, which is a Giant's Belt and a Negatron Cloak. 20 MR, 150 HP, and the ability is, at combat start, a Whirlwind is summoned at the hex opposite the one the holder is standing on. The Whirlwind removes the closest enemy to it from combat for 5 seconds, and it ignores CC immunity. So no longer will a QSS or a or Verdant or anything that can block CC stop this from the Zephyr from working on it. So the Zephyr will always work, and you can always try to snipe whatever unit it is you need to snipe with it. So I think Zephyr is actually pretty strong. That ignoring CC immunity is really strong. How the targeting works, for those that don't know, so if I put Zephyr on this Volibear, just assume like it was only a 2-2. So in the back right corner, this would go to this square, the back left corner square. And if you put it on Viego, it would go on the square next to that. Teemo, the square next to that. That's how the diagonals work with it. So like if I put it on Ivern, it goes here. That's how the opposite side hex thing works. The shadow version of Zephyr is called a Turbulent Zephyr, has the same stats, and the shadow version ability it's the same ability. It lasts 8 seconds instead of 5 seconds, still ignoring CC immunity. But when the infected enemy lands, they gain 30 AD and 30 AP for the rest of combat. So 3-second longer Zephyr, if you take out their main carry and they're only playing like a 1 carry board, I think this is absolutely fantastic. You know, you deal with their board and then it's like a 5-on-1. But they do gain those extra stats. So just be careful while using this item. I think it is very powerful to snipe someone's like main carry, but I also think it can be dangerous. The next item we're going over with the Giant Spell is the Morellonomicon, which is a Giant Spell and a needlessly large rod. Has 10 AP, 150 health, and the ability is the same as it was in set 4 at 4.5. When the holder deals magic damage with their ability, the target gets burned, dealing 25% of the target's max health as true damage over 10 seconds, and having healing reduced on them by 50% for the duration. TLDR, use this to reduce people's max health, to reduce people's max healing, and to burn people slowly over time. It's actually a pretty good item. Reduced healing is needed quite often. The burn is really good if you can get it on somebody who can hit multiple people fast, such as Kennen or Morgana. I'll throw it on literally anyone listed here. Karma or Vel'Koz is only if you're using them more as a trait bot to just get, and then like getting the burnout. You wouldn't want that for them as like a main carry item. Morellonomicon is not normally an item you throw on your main carry. It's thrown on like more of a support type of unit to just get the burn and the reduced healing. The shadow version of this item is the Morellonomicon. I probably said that wrong. It's really confusing. I don't know how to pronounce that properly. Has the same stats, and the ability deals 100% of the target's match XP as true damage over 25 seconds and have healing reduced on them for 50% during the duration. The negative with this is the holder's abilities deal 50% reduced damage. So the major differences here is the burn damage goes from the 2.5% a second max health that the regular Morello does to 4% a second, which is a pretty big increase. But the holder deals 50% less damage with it abilities. I think like this is a fantastic item. If you're going for the burn, you do it 100%. If all you're doing it is for the burn and for the reduced duration, which that's normally what you'd use the Morello, and the reduced healing, I would 100% use this over the regular Morello, because most of the time the units you're putting it on, you don't care about their ability damage. You just care about the ability's damage, the ability's ability to spread the burn. I think the absolute best user of this early game is Kennen, and the best user of it late game is Volibear. Both of those units absolutely shine with this item. And it's literally like you can build a team around just using that at the start of the game, and it's fantastic with the Kennen. On the end of the game, getting the burn on that many people with the Volibear knockup is absolutely fantastic. The next item is the Zeke's Herald. It's a giant spell and a BF sword, makes a Zeke's Herald, 10 AD, 150 health, and the ability is gives 25% attack speed to the self, so who's holding the item, and the ally on either side of the unit holding the item at combat start. So 3 units in the line, the unit in the middle, and then 1 on either side all gain 25% attack speed. You use this item anytime you want to buff buff your carry with more attack speed. It's good for spellcasters because they get their abilities out faster. It's good for AD units because they just attack faster and do more damage. Just an overall always item. I would always use this item. The Zeke's Bleak Herald is the shadow version, same stats, and the ability is different. So the ability steals 25% attack speed from allies on either side of the holder. So those units lose 25% of their attack speed. The holder of the item gains 40% attack speed for each affected ally. So that's 80% total attack speed gained if you use it to steal from 2 allies, one on either side. So it's completely different because it's not like just a full buffing item for like just your team. It buffs one unit a lot and takes from the other units. So I'd post this on any unit where you want like a massive attack speed buff. Just make sure you know that you're stealing the attack speed from the allies on either side, which means they're going to get their ability out slower. They're going to be doing less damage. I see it having potential on like Draven, on Aphelios, on Kale, stuff like that. I haven't used it much myself yet because the negative is pretty big. The next item we'll go over is the Sunfire Cape, which is a giant spell and chain vest. It grants 20 armor and 150 HP. And the ability is every 2.5 seconds, a random enemy within 2 hexes is burned for 25% of their max HP over 10 seconds. Any healing they receive is reduced by 50%. It's the other anti-healing item. Morello and Sunfire are the 2 anti-healing items. You put this on any tank unit, on an assassin to apply a reduced healing to the backline. It does burn over max HP. It does reduced healing. It's just a good item. This set has a lot of healing in it, and I would use this item quite frequently when I know I can't utilize like a Morello in my comp to get reduced healing. The shadow version of the item is the Eclipse Cape, which has 20 armor, 150 HP, same as the regular. And the ability is pretty much the same, it just scales differently. So every 1.5 seconds, a random enemy within 3 hexes is burned for 25% of their max HP over 10 seconds. Any healing they receive is reduced by 50%. The wearer of the item is burned for 4% of their max HP every second, and has 50% reduced healing received as well. So this item burns more often, hits more people more often, and has a longer range. But you burn yourself at the same time. I think it's, again, very good for just getting anti-healing out as much as you need it. But at the same point, the self-burn and the self-healing reduction is kind of rough. I don't know, how much I truly use this item. If, the enemy has like a Shadow Redemption and you really need reduced healing, well, then I definitely use it. So it would be like, scout your lobby to see if I would use this version or not. The next item for a giant spell is the Trap Claw, which is a giant spell and a sparring glove, 150 HP, 20% dodge chance, and the ability is blocks the first ability from hitting the wearer and stuns the caster of the ability for 4 seconds. It's very good at protecting against a Viego. It's very good at stunning a Karma. It's a very good, I think, niche item. If you can use it on your carry, use it on someone who you can bait getting hit by an ability. It's very good against blocking a Thresh Hook. Stuff like that. It gives you a guaranteed stun as long as the other unit doesn't have Verdant or a QSS. And it blocks a full ability, so the ability doesn't affect you. So it's a solid defensive item. This would be a scout the lobby to see if I should use this type of item. The shadow version of the item is the Vengeful Trap Claw, which blocks the first ability hit, then teleports the wearer to the caster's location, forcing both units to target each other while dealing 25% increased damage to each other. Weird mechanic. It doesn't stun the attacking player, but it does that weird teleport mechanic. The only time I have seen this get used, it was actually used very well against me. I've never played it myself, but I had a Karma. The guy put this on his Mordekaiser. My Karma shot his Mordekaiser. His Mordekaiser teleported to my Karma and one-shot her. It was a fantastic use of this item. I think this item has a very high potential, but it's not that practical in most games, because getting the unit you want to get hit by the correct ability, so like if any of my other units just hit that Mord before my Karma did with an ability, he would have teleported to them instead. So it's a huge positioning thing, and it's a huge fight RNG thing. A lot of potential, not that practical. And the last belt item for now is the Zz'rot Portal. Zz'rot Portal. It is built out of a belt and a recurve bow. At combat start, the wearer taunts all enemies within 2 hexes. When the wearer dies, a void spawn spawns that taunts again. This item just received a major nerf coming into the start of set 5. It no longer works on Abomination at all. Abomination will not summon the void spawn. They said that they over-nerfed it. I wouldn't really use the regular Zz'rot Portal at all. If you end up with it, putting it on a tank just to get a little extra tank. The only time I'd really use it is if I need to taunt somebody. So like somebody has an assassin that's jumping near my carry, put this on a tank, put this near my carry. Then using it for the taunt is viable. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't use the regular Zz'rot. They majorly nerfed it. It's not that good. Don't play it right now, for the most part. The shadow version of the item is the unstable Zz'rot Portal. It does the same thing where it spawns a void spawn, that it taunts, and then spawns a void spawn. The void spawn is different. The void spawn always spawns with 500 HP and taunts again. When the void spawn dies, it deals 500 true damage to all enemies within 1 hex. That, I feel like, is a valid item. I feel like the 500 true damage nuke to all enemies 1 hex is very, very strong. I would definitely end up using this still. There's a gimmick you can do with this, where if you throw multiples of these on an assassin, you can send these nukes to their backline. Very strong, very funny, kinda easy to play around. I think overall this is like a decent unit, but nothing that's a decent item, but nothing that's really that fantastic. And that sums up all of the Giant's Belt items. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope this video helped you. If it did, please don't forget to give me a like, give me a subscribe, and come see me live on Twitch. I'm live 6 days a week, normally around 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I explain all my plays. I answer all questions you guys can send to me. I focus on educational TFT gameplay to help you guys get better. Thank you for watching, and have a fantastic night.